And then I was just like, in high school, I was really obsessed and passionate about languages. Like I wanted maybe something that I was really good at, maybe, just like better at than anybody else. And all the people in my high school class were brilliant and amazing and did everything that I could do but better. So Spanish became kind of a thing for me where I was like, this is going to be my thing, and I loved it, and I loved the language. And then I went on an exchange program in Ciudad Real in Spain for a summer when I was 17, and it was like a complete immersion, and I really loved that experience. And then after that I went to college, and I spent like a couple of years I thought I was going to be a Spanish major.
Okay, but tell us about the experience, the first experience in Spain, the immersion. What role do you think that played in your future life and education? We're very much promoting international exchange for students in our countries here, in the Nordics. We speak a few languages, so we know that our language, our culture, our country is too small to, let's say, do anything by itself. So we know that the international experience is very important. And what role did it play for you as a 17-year-old?
It was a phenomenal experience, and I would really recommend anybody to do it. It was difficult too. Of course, the first couple of weeks, we're young, we're 17, we're kind of like thrown into this situation with a bunch of other 17-year-olds who've never met before and told you're not allowed to speak to each other in anything but Spanish. So like the communication was there. And then we also had host families, like very generous people who like invited these young folks into their home, and the communication didn't always go well. But I think that for me, that feeling of learning who I could be in another language, like what options there were for me to express myself differently in a different something more than language, like a different cadence, a different register. Also, like people told me that when I speak Spanish, my voice is lower. I feel somehow like I express a different kind of being myself when I speak in Spanish, and it's really exciting. But I also remember I was on the bus one day, and I had this experience where I had kind of forgotten some basic word, and I just couldn't pull it to mind, like what I was feeling. I just couldn't remember the word in English, but I also didn't know the word in Spanish. So I was just left there sitting with this wordless feeling, and it was a really amazing experience to think about what is the world like then without language, if you can't remember how to express yourself, but you also don't know what the other words would be that would communicate to someone. Like I found that a very powerful experience, and to realize like the relationship between our embodied experience and how it is that we use language to make sense of the world, and like what do we do when we don't have that, when we don't have the words to communicate. So I don't know, I feel like that probably then translated into my other interests later in research of like what is like constructivism, or like understanding different ontological representations of the world when we think about the relationship between language and meaning.